explosions rock Kabul. It's war. This is an emotional response that we're having today.
Only attacking to the military bases. It's also attacking to civilians. A lot of civilians are dying, like we have seen in Iraq, in Somalia, in any place where, wherever they go, they kill not only military, but civilians. Entonces estamos en contra del asesinato que los Estados Unidos está llevando a cabo en contra de todo el pueblo afgano. We thank all the organizations that come here to support our solidarity against the war, against the people of Afghanistan. We are against U.S. intervention. We are against a war of aggression. We are against an unjust war. A million left this war to happen. We have to do all our efforts to stop the war. So we say, stop the bombing, stop the war. Stop the bombing! Stop the war! Stop the bombing! Stop the war! Stop the bombing! Stop the war! We are different people from different nationalities. We came from El Salvador, we came from Mexico, we came from Filipinas, also North Americans. We came from that different countries in the world. We gotta say, stop the war, and we're gonna continue with this struggle in one piece. And also, we like to announce that tomorrow we have a meeting, coalition in 511 Sandia Street in between both Cesar Chavez. So this is going to be at 7 o'clock. So please, let's join together and let's stop the war. Thank you, all of you. Quick message that we already know in terms of censorship in the media. We know the media is sold out and bought out. Rarely do we hear messages about what's going on really in Afghanistan or what happened in Afghanistan in the late 70s. I saw a recent interview with some people from the Carter administration where they finally caught that actually they were in Afghanistan before the Russians back in 79, and that just came out recently where many people went over to Afghanistan thinking that it was the Russians and red baiting and all that stuff that happened then. What's happening now, we're going to have to wait 20 years again to find out really the reality of what's happened on the ground in Afghanistan and what's going on. Hypocrisy in terms of the so-called humanitarian aid that's going to Afghanistan. The people of Afghanistan were bombing the hell out of a country that's already been ravaged. Something happened here locally too. 6th and Westlake was the mural that had Marcos from the Easy Land and Zapata that was there. That was covered up because of the corporate Ramada that was there, that was uncomfortable with the messages as the Mexican government, the politicians coming from Mexico with the actual consulate down the street on 6th Street, 6th and Westlake. So now that mural was covered up this morning. So people that were vigilant about that, there's still something that we have to deal with. You go by, you're going to see a whitewash there. Or close to Placita Olvera, where Siqueiros had Tropical America here at Placita Olvera. That's been whitewashed, and we know the history of that is still going on today. Lastly, as we were coming over here, Comité por la Democracia in Mexico, we were listening to Spanish language talk radio, and men were very censoring a woman who called in and said 30% of the information that we need is being censored, and they wiped her off the air just for criticizing what's going on with Spanish language media. We're not getting our own media, either through emails or through what we give out today. We need to be more vigilant in terms of the information that we get out. We know that virtually no media information outlets are there serving us, and we need to serve ourselves. Thank you.
One of the things, we have a slogan where we say, I gave up I used to be a white American, and I gave it up in the interest of humanity. And I think today, we have to say that we stand with the people of the world, that it's not in the interest of the people in this country or the people around the world that the U.S. is bombing Afghanistan. And that these global exploiters, these international bullies, can't deliver justice to the people. They have no right to speak on the question of justice. And that these bombings and these attacks on people here and around the world have to stop. And what we say is our planet doesn't need another unjust war. We need to defend the rights of people, to oppose these repressive measures, and to continue to speak out and stand with the people of the world. So we say, global oppressors can't deliver justice. Stop the bombing of Afghanistan now.
A war against the working class all over the world. The war against the nations.
A todo riesgo, sabemos que hay policías, que la policía está por todos lados, que nos
What station?
Internet only. Renegade journalism.
I wanted to make an announcement. October 22nd, National Day of Protest to Stop Police Brutality, Repression, and the Criminalization of a Generation is on for this year. And the thing is that this year it's all the more important that we step out and stop, stop police brutality and the repressive measures that they're stepping up in relationship to this war, because they want to silence people, and they're stepping up their police state efforts. And one of the things they're doing that we know that they do is the racial profiling of Arab people, of Muslim people, and immigrants. And that's another reason to be stepping out and showing our opposition to that. So we're calling on people. We have these flyers that people should take up. We call on people to join us on October 22nd and step out, wear black, and stop police brutality, repression, and the criminalization of a whole generation.
Esta protesta sigue la primera y la So today is representing Coalition Against War. We are a movement that's primarily composed of progressive organizations of people of color, Asian Pacific Islanders, immigrants, and other sectors who are against unjust wars and all forms of terrorism. Those who love peace, democracy, freedom, and who care for their civil rights and liberties. Our calls are no to war, no to a war against the people. We call on the U.S. government to re-examine its foreign policies that are biased, one-sided, exploitative, and oppressive. We also say no to terrorism and stop attacks on our communities. And that we must uphold freedom and democracy and fight for our civil liberties. So join us tomorrow at 5 o'clock, also in front of the federal building at 5 p.m. Thank you.
What's the name? A las 5 de la tarde, 5 o'clock tomorrow. 5 o'clock tomorrow. So, everyone, we all know what we have to do. We have to go back to our communities and organize. We have to let all those people in the streets and the houses know what's going on. Next time we come back here tomorrow, we hope that there will be over 100, over 200, over more than that of us here tomorrow. So tomorrow, 5 o'clock, let people know that we're once again will be mobilizing over here.
We are not 10%.
That's right. What do we want?
First off, what I want to say is I got down here kind of late today. I found out about the news late in the day, had a late start. What I found when I got down here, I'm downtown Los Angeles now on Temple Street. Where is everybody? What the hell, we protest for 2-3 weeks and then something happens and everybody disappears. There's nobody down here. If we're going to stop this thing, we need a concentrated effort. You need to get your butts down here and get to the protest, because otherwise ain't nobody going to hear about any of this except you and me. Please.
The man in the cave. The man who's scared to show his face. At least our leaders show their faces in sunlight. At least we vote on our leaders. We don't torture and make you submit. And for those who are saying, oh, we shouldn't be bombing and it shouldn't be a pound of flesh for a pound of flesh, well, it looks like we've made the decision that that's what we're doing.
licensed by the Department of Corporations.
Afghan civilians were killed in the U.S.-British attack in Afghanistan, and this according to the Taliban's ambassador to Pakistan, calling the attacks huge. There were casualties, he told the Associated Press before hanging up. This guy's been hanging up on the Associated Press all night. Quote, civilians died. It was a very huge attack. You ask me, this whole Israel-United States thing, I wouldn't make too much out of it. There are plenty of forces out there who want to make much out of it, but it seems like there's a little public fight, a little food fight, if you will, among families. That's your take on it. It's not like, what do you mean that's my take? I think that's the situation. But we're not about to let one of our vital organs depart from our body, which would be the state of Israel. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, since Truman gave the wink and the nod and the signature, we've been pretty much there. I don't know why we would depart that now. We just want to know what's going on.
The second attack on Kandahar, which is going on right now, even larger than the first. The Taliban has issued their statement saying that the Americans have launched a terrorist attack on them, that we are the terrorists.
I was watching C-SPAN because I got tired of the government propaganda, which I'm seeing on most of the news shows, who pose as journalists. I heard Brit Hume, they kept his mic open, and he was sitting there squelching, get me the State Department talking points. And I would say about 8, or maybe even higher, 8 out of 10 callers were against Bush. And I don't know if they had the phone banks going, or I don't know if this was really people singing from their hearts. But it was almost the exact opposite of what these polls are telling us.
What part of Afghanistan is your family from?
Our family, I mean, we all came from Kabul.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that. We know that for a fact that this terrorist regime has been created by Pakistan government. But I can see this right now, that my country, my people, they're burning in hell, and nothing happened to Pakistan. What is going on? Why America, they don't wake up? We have been victims twice. Once in 1980, and now once more now. This is not fair. This is not justice. I want these terrorists to be out of my country. I want them to go to hell. But they have been created by Pakistanis. We know that. The world know that.
Willow Springs, Illinois. Go ahead.
I think Scotty couldn't take it anymore, and she cut it off. But see, that was the kind of emotion I was hearing. I was hearing a lot of Bush bashing on C-SPAN. There is a lot of resentment. At least some of these callers, or most of these callers, were coming through.
Stop the war! So we say, stop the bombing, stop the war! Stop the bombing, stop the war! We thank all the organizations that come here to support our solidarity against the war, against the people of Afghanistan. We are against U.S. intervention. We are against a war of aggression. We are against an unjust war. And we will not let this war to happen. We have to do all our efforts to stop the war. So we say, stop the bombing, stop the war. Stop the bombing, stop the war. Stop the bombing, stop the war. Stop the bombing, stop the war.
A lot of the U.S. that is only attacking to the military bases. It's also attacking to civilians. A lot of civilians are dying, like we have seen in Iraq, in Somalia, in any place where, wherever they go, they kill not only military, but civilians. Entonces estamos en contra del asesinato que los Estados Unidos está llevando a cabo en contra de todo el pueblo afgano.
Explosions rock Kabul. It's war. This is an emotional response that we're having today.
Oye,